Hi there and welcome back to the Amazing Collection unboxing. We're on box number 66 and I wanted to give a little intro. So for the next 3 weeks we're going to do something a little different. I found about 5 boxes that are all labeled a variety of Breyer lamps and shades. So what I'm going to do for the next 3 weeks is I'm going to open one box each week of the lamps, and then I'm going to attempt, because hopefully I believe they all have shades, I'll find the shades for those particular models. So what I picked for this week was one that says Breyer Wood Grain Longhorn Bull Lamp, keep. And then this box has shades for a couple of different of the lamps, and one of them it says is the Wood Grain Bull Lamp. So I think this shade is going to go with this model. So I'm going to set the shade aside and I'm going to open the box. So a little bit about Breyer lamps in general. They've made Breyer lamps for almost as long as they've made Breyer horses, so back into the 50s. None of them, I don't think, were marketed by Breyer as a Breyer product. Collectors, being a large group of people with different opinions, tend to count anything that was made by a manufacturer before, I'm going to roughly say 1980, to be an official Breyer product. So if you want to show in a show that accepts Breyer pieces, you can show most of these lamps that were made during that time period. Anything that was homemade, so if someone bought a horse and put it on a lamp base, we consider that a custom, so that would not be an original finish lamp. But there was a couple of different companies that made these lamps, like I said, in that kind of time frame of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And those are mostly accepted in Breyer collector's classes as original finish. So this particular model, once I get them open, will probably be what we call a Dunning Ranchcraft lamp. So Dunning Industries was the company that would buy the Breyer model and then stick it on a lamp base. And then they actually, I think, were resellers. So they would then resell those pieces to someone who would retail it. So you could see these in different magazines like Western Horseman, and they would be sold by different companies. But Dunning, we in the hobby call them Dunning Ranchcraft, because Dunning was the people that made the lamp, and Ranchcraft was what they called, I think, this line of lamps. And they made them from the 1960s, mid-60s, like 64, 65, through the early 1970s. And there are some hallmarks so that you can tell what is a Dunning Industries lamp. So this is indeed a Dunning Industries wood grain Longhorn bull lamp. Dunning Industries lamps are all on wooden bases. Most of them have a beveled edge. They have a brass pole behind, and the animal is mounted on the wood base for the most part. There's one exception. They make them in wood grain and the regular run colors. The wood grains are generally the most desirable. The wood grain, the horses on them can be regular runs, but some of them can be special runs. For instance, the running mare and foal were discontinued in wood grain before these lamps were made. So the wood grain running mare and foal that's on the lamp, those are special runs. So this is the wood grain Longhorn. He's in very good condition. Some things to watch for when you're buying and keeping these lamps. The heat from the original type of incandescent light bulbs that we have is very rough on the finish of the wood grains. So if you find one of these lamps, check out the finish, particularly along the top of the model, because the heat from the lamp, if the person ever used it, will bubble. And that's a detriment or a ding in condition. They have these brass harps that will hold a burlap shade. So his harp is here. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of fussing to get him to click in. So his harp is here. And they'll also have felt bases. So he has a felt base. He has no stickers on him. But I have seen some of these with the Underwriters Laboratories sticker on them. And I think some of them say Dunning Industries. And some of them come with a really cool hang tag that's like faux leather that describes the lamp. Those are really cool. So he does not have that. However, I forgot to open my box. Let's see if he has his shade. He does. So most of these lamps will come with a burlap shade. So he has his full oval burlap shade. The shade will have either burlap or a bit of a leather top and bottom, and then be burlap. This particular one is crinkled. And you can kind of uncrinkle them. It's a little tricky, but the paper on the inside is very fragile, so it's hard to get them to come back into shape. But finding these large drum shades is very hard in good condition because they're so large. So this guy is one of the more rare of the Dunning Ranchcraft models. The wood grains are usually more desirable than the regular colors. The animals maybe weren't produced for as long, but I tend to see the animal models go for a little bit more. Let's look for his mold mark. So he has his round Breyer molding company, but no USA. So this model was produced pre-1970, most likely, because that's when that USA mark started to go on. His cord is here and intact and not frayed, which if you want to display it is nice. But like I said, if you're going to buy one of these old ones and display them, try the new LED bulbs or those very cool bulbs, because otherwise they will bubble. So I'll take a close look. He is in beautiful condition. He has no bubbling on his wood grain. His wood grain is in good condition. He has a few, it looks like little maybe paint flecks or something, but I think he would clean up. He's a little milky, which the old wood grains do tend to get, but he's in excellent condition. His horns are intact. He has no bubbling. His shade is nice on the display side, the crinklings on the back, so that's awesome. So this is overall a beautiful Dunning Ranchcraft lamp. So join me next week. I'll open up a few more lamps and we'll talk about whatever we happen to find. Thank you, and join me next week.